Hello everybody, it's nice to see everyone here. I am Syreeta Crawford. As Mr. Irvin said, I'm a graduating senior biology major from Hartford, Connecticut. And I am very happy to speak to you all about my testimony with Star Interfaith. Mr. Irvin and Star Interfaith really has been, like, I don't know if you're all familiar with like the term true parents, but they really have been true parents for me, especially along my journey with wanting to remain abstinent from drugs, from alcohol, from premarital sex. And that was important because I feel like the type of household that you're brought up in, it kind of sets the standards or kind of gives the example of what you're supposed to do. And being raised by a single mother, that wasn't always the best environment to kind of train me in the right direction. And so coming into college, it was really hard knowing that I had my own morals and my integrity and what I was living up to, and then having the whole world around me not doing those things. I'm not saying that I was easily, swayed to do things that weren't right. It was just a matter of, okay, well, like, is this the norm? Like, am I supposed to be doing this at this age? Like, is this typical at this age? Like, really just trying to figure out what I'm supposed to be doing. And so for me, I really kind of got swayed off of the direction I was taught or raised to go in. And so finding Mr. Urban and Mrs. Urban and having the training and really just being able to see, like, this is how not abstaining from alcohol, from drugs, and from premarital sex correlates with, depression, or with, suicidal thoughts, or just even with simply as your grades slipping. And I realized that I know that I went through a lot of emotional changes because I wasn't abstaining from, certain activities. So I went through my time of depression and things like that. And Mr. Urban and Mrs. Urban, of course, God really was my light out. And so that's why I really wanted to start Interfaith on Howard's campus, because I didn't have that support system. I didn't have the Jaylas, I didn't have the Rihannas to say, like, it's okay for you not to be doing everything that everyone else is doing, despite how they might try to make you feel. So, starting faith is really something that kind of saved my life, I guess you could say. Just helping me remain the person that I was when I came into college. And so, just to share like some of my strategies, like I try to reach out to other young women and let them know, like, it's okay for you to have this confidence of remaining abstinent, even though everyone else isn't doing it, because I know that was my downfall. I didn't have that support. And so, I like doing things like having a girls' night, or like, come to my room, let's watch movies, or let's have like a little pampering party, because like as women, even for men, it's like they need that. They need that reassurance, that edification. And it's really all about how you want to present yourself. Like, even for me, like, and I see Jayla and Brianna, it's like you have to change your whole way of life when you decide to abstain. And so it's like, I don't wear certain clothing, and when I see people, it's not a fact of me judging them, but it's more of like in a motherly role, like, like this, you shouldn't do this or you shouldn't do that, because in the real world, people don't tell you, they'll just talk about you. And like, I know, because I've had it done to me, and that's why like I make it my purpose to say, ladies, shouldn't really be acting like that, or you're a gentleman, you shouldn't be acting like that. And those are kind of my little tips for trying to help keep people in the right light. And so, aside from me wanting to abstain and just share that message with everyone else, I also, plan to go back home and talk to my parents or my grandparents about it, because it does start at home. And that's why I do want to get the middle school involved. I do want to get high school involved, because even though my mother, as a single parent, she tried to teach me what was best, it, probably didn't help that she had boyfriends coming in and out of the house sometimes, or it probably didn't help that I had like family members around me who were drinking and doing other things that you're told you're not supposed to do, but it's like, but you're doing it. How can you tell me, not to do something and you're doing it just because you're an adult? So it's like, I want to be the example that I preach about. Because I don't just want to say something and not live up to it as well, because then I look like a hypocrite. So really that is just my testimony for STAR, why it's so important to me, why it's so important for me to work with Jayla, to work with Brianna, to make sure that it's at Howard University, and just to share with the DC community. And when I go home this summer, I really look forward to sharing it with the individuals in Connecticut as well.
I assumed everyone was the same way. But when I went to the STAR Guide program, I heard all this information, like you said, 75% of senior ladies are having sex by senior year in high school. And I thought that was really shocking to me, and I was like almost in disbelief. So as I went through the program, I kind of realized how the world it's not as how I saw it when I grew up, and that it really needs a lot of fixing, and there's a lot of issues going on. I mean, just in this like one case, of course there's many other issues, but just in this one case of abstinence, like it's really something that the world needs to work on. And I was happy to be a part of it, and happy like that he has this program set up, because you don't see that a lot every day. Like that's not an issue that a lot of people are focusing on. Yes, they say have protected sex and stuff like that, but abstinence is never, like it's like almost never mentioned. So yeah, I really appreciated that he started this program and that I've been able to like stick with it for 2 years now. And I'm excited for it to grow, and I'm excited about the chapter on Howard University. Hopefully we can start like more chapters in this area. I think that would be a good idea.
My name is Jayla Anderson. I'm a freshman clinical laboratory science major from Cincinnati, Ohio. One of the biggest things that I learned from STAR Interfaith is that basically it takes something alive to go against the stream. So when I first grew up, I was with a single parent, and she taught me everything I needed to know. And she always made me so busy, like organizing my time and doing good at school, that I never even thought of having premarital relations until I got to college and I saw all these other people doing it, and I was like, okay. It still didn't hit me, and people were telling me that I was immature because I wasn't having it, and I was thinking to myself, like, I just stepped on campus this freshman week, I'm not going to have relations with this dude. Like, it doesn't work. So when I found STAR Interfaith, I was like, at first I was confused because I was like, well, I thought this was just a freshman week thing. I didn't know it continued throughout their entire college career. And so when I joined it, I was really excited because they were talking to me more about not just not having sex, but also not drinking and not smoking and stuff like that, which is unfortunately something that I have to deal with every day, like seeing people drunk and high all the time, even at home. And then I got to meet my big sister, so I was like, yes, it is. And I met Brianna, and I was like, yes, this is going to work. So starting this chapter gave me a bigger confidence to actually do what I want, like any idea I have, just to do it, because now I'm getting more people to join the cause to be abstinent, and more people to join all the other clubs that I want to start. So yeah, I just want to thank you guys for that.
Here and share. I'm going to be very authentic and genuine with my daughter and the other young ladies in the room. When the young lady, is Syreeta?
Yes,
Syreeta, I'm sorry, say it again for me? Syreeta?
Yes.
When Syreeta began to speak, the first thing I noticed about her when I came in the room was her confidence. She was very poised, a very beautiful young lady, and she had an air of sophistication about her, and just the way that she was dressed. Her skirt was beautiful, and so she got my attention, but she didn't get my attention because I saw that she was very shapely, or her outfit. She got my attention with her air, and then I saw the rest of her. And so when she began talking about how she talked to young ladies about what they were wearing, it just really kind of made me realize that possibly I should be having different kinds of conversations with my daughter, because I'm always talking with my daughter about sex. I will come out and I will ask her about it because I know the dangers of it and I know how quickly it can creep up on you. But I never thought about her clothing. I never thought about her clothing, because I do talk to her about, you know, how shapely she is, but I never thought about contouring her clothing or working with her about her clothing, because that already sets the tone. It begins, your clothing will set the tone for you. So I really appreciated that. Unfortunate for me, I did not find a program like this. And so I battled with all of the things that you talked about battling with, the low self-esteem, the depression, and all of those things, because when things don't work out, you feel that level of rejection, you feel that level of just you're confused, and then there's so many other things that come into play. You see the new person that the guy is dating, or whatever it is, and so I had all of these things, and then I also had Charity out of wedlock. And just to speak to you about when you have a child with someone, the two very best people to raise that child are the two that made them. Now, there can be other folks who can come in and do the job, but there are certain things that happen with Charity that I can't speak to, I can't address, because I don't know them, I don't know where they came from, I don't know how to deal with it. Had I had done things in the proper area, as my mother says, if I would have not put the cart before the horse, I wouldn't be there. And so even though I operate up under God's grace, I'm not in His will, I'm in His grace, because of what happened with my child and the decisions that I made. So I applaud you, I encourage you to keep doing it, because it is not a small thing. You know, everyone wants to make it seem like it's a small thing, but it's not a small thing. It's a very big thing, and it's a thing that continues to spiral. So you are being the courageous one, and it's one day at a time, one step at a time. And if you do, for whatever reason, make a bad decision, that's the time to turn around and make the 180. I never thought about the not drinking. You know, smoking never appealed to me, and smoking probably will never appeal to her. But just having those conversations are conversations that I never thought about, and I never realized that the two really linked with one another, because I was doing it all except for the smoking and drugs. So I hope this was what you were looking for. I hope that I was some level of source of inspiration. And I will just say, the scripture that I never knew when I was coming up was that I was fearfully and wonderfully made. And so had I had known that I was fearfully and wonderfully made, then perhaps maybe I wouldn't have battled with insecurities. And so just remember, you're fearfully and wonderfully made, and there is no temptation that God has not made a way of escape for us. So even when you're right there in that moment, there's a way of escape if you so choose to have that way of escape. And I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And that's about all I have to say. All right.